friends, today we are going to start our new project, that is PHP MySQL database connectivity, in which we are going to create a crude application in which we'll perform the following operations. In which the first operation we have is the create function or the file which will create the database. So we are going to create database in that using MySQL database. Second, we are going to create a file that will read the data from the database. Third, the file for the updation function. And fourth, the file for the deletion function. So that's why combinedly it is called as the CRUD application. So using PHP language and MySQL database, we are going to create this in our project. So how many files do we need in our project? It depends on our requirements. So as per our requirement, we need these majorly 6 type of files, in which our first file is the config.php. This configuration.php or config.php is used, I'm going to use it for defining the database connection parameters. Okay. Second file that I'll need is called as add.html page, that will be used for taking the user inputs. Okay. Third file which I am going to create here is insert.php, that will contain the script to insert the data into MySQL database from this add.html page. So it will read the data from add.html and then insert it into the database. Next file which I'll need is index.php. This file I'll particularly use for displaying the database content that I have inserted using the previous file. Next file which I'll use in my project is edit.php, that is to edit the user data in the database. And the last file which I'll use is called as delete.php, that is to delete the user data from the database. So these are 6 necessary files which I am going to create using PHP and MySQL, a very easy to use CRUD application. Okay. So for that, what I'll need majorly 2 types of softwares. First software which I'll need is called as XAMPP. It is a software which is used to create a server on the localhost system, that will make my laptop or my system to behave as a server. So that XAMPP stands for, that is cross, denotes cross platform, that is it can be used on Macintosh PC as well as Windows PC, Linux PC and all. A stands for Apache, M stands for MySQL, and P stands for PHP. So to download that file, simply search on Google, that is XAMPP, and click on download button. Then you'll get to the download page of this Apache Friends website, where you'll get the download options for XAMPP, that is for Windows, this is for Linux, and this is for OS X, that is Macintosh. So in my project, I am going to use a XAMPP file for Windows purpose or Windows operating system. So I'll simply click download here, and once this file is downloaded, this will appear like this. So I have downloaded the version 7.2.3. Okay. And the next software which I'll need in my project is for editing purpose, or the editor. So I'm going to use an editor which is called as Visual Studio Code. So it is a free of cost software for editing purpose by Microsoft. So to download that, simply search Visual Studio Code, and the download button is available here. So you can go for downloading that, and it is available also for various type of operating systems, that is Windows, Linux and Macintosh. So I have also downloaded that software. So this is the software which I am going to use. So I have to install both the softwares one by one. So when you install XAMPP, simply double click it. It will ask for the software location or the installation location. So it is asking for the installation, and this is the XAMPP setup wizard. Here you'll have to choose the components which you want to install. So I have completed all the selected all the components that I'm going to use, but basically I will need Apache, MySQL and PHP MyAdmin. So once you install this product in your system, I have already installed, so I'm going to cancel it here. So once you install this product, you can easily find it here in your program files, which is being mentioned here like XAMPP. And when you have to install, open it, so simply click XAMPP control panel. When you open XAMPP control panel, you will find this type of control panel from XAMPP, in which there are various modules which needs to be started for the project purpose. So I need only two modules, that is Apache and MySQL. So I've already started them. If they are not started, simply click like start button. So they'll be assigned a process ID and along with their port numbers. So to open Apache in your system, simply click that admin button here, and it will take you to the local host or the local host server on your system. So if you are finding this page, then it means your XAMPP installation is successful. Okay. Second setup which I am going to use in my system is Visual Studio Code. So when the Visual Studio Code is installed successfully, how to use it, I'll display it later on. So before creating the application, I'm going to please close these tabs. Okay, so what I'll need to do, I need to connect my project that is in the PHP codes, and I need a database so that my files database can be inserted. So to get into the database part of your Apache server, simply click that my PHP MyAdmin tab here. So when you click it here, this will show the default databases which are available with the system, and it is showing the server 127.0.0.1, which is for local host. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, you have to create a new database. So to create a new database, simply click new and click the write the database name and click here create. So I've already created a database named as test. So this is my database. So to select any particular database, you can click here. So these are the default database which are available with the PHP MyAdmin. So I have created the test database. Okay. Now database contains multiple tables. So in my project, I am going to create a user table named as user. So I'm simply writing name users, which contains number of columns. So you can define any number of columns, but for my project, I'm going to take 4 number of columns. So after defining the columns, you have to simply click go. Once you click go, it will ask for the various database fields. So you can use that GUI part to create the database table, in which you can identify the name of that particular table column, its type, that is various types in varchar, tax, date and so on, the length, and that its default value, whether it is going to be null or not, and whether it is going to be auto increment and so on. But I'm going to create this table using SQL query. Okay, so for the specific purpose, this table is not created, so I'm going to create it using the SQL query, so that you can understand how to create it using query. So for that, simply write a command create table. So I'm just how to write it, create table users, put a bracket, and then define the column names. So I'm going to take ID, which is of integer type, and its size is say 11, and it is not going to be a null value, so it is not going to contain null value. So I've written not null, and then simply write auto increment. Okay, that is going to be auto incremented, and so on. Next field which I'm going to take is name. Its data type is varchar. I'm going to take 100 as its length, and it is also going to be not null value. Okay. Third field which I'm going to take is age, which is of integer type, and its max length can be 3, and it is also not null. Fourth field which I am going to take in my data in my table, it is where email, and its data type is varchar, which is again I am taking it 100 and not null. Okay, and I am also going to define a primary key for my database table. So that is I have defined as ID. So simply click it and put a colon here. So once you write this query, simply click go. So this is saying MySQL returned an empty result set, that is 0 rows query took. So if you can see that test database is now containing one table, which is users. So if you want to see the users structure, it is containing the 4 columns using the query which I have executed, that is ID, name, age and email. Okay. So in the next step, what I'm going to do, I have created the database, and database is containing one table with these value columns, that is ID, name, age and email. Okay, so that is for now. In the next lecture we are going to create our next file, which is called as config.php, in which I will be setting the database parameters and so on. So thank you so much for watching, and if you have any query, then you may ask in our comment section, and if you need any kind of programming help, then you all can also ask or put your queries there. Thank you so much.